what was your favorite stop along the way?
My favorite stop, you know what it was? It was Sault Ste. Marie, which is a town in Ottawa, and town or city, don't want to offend them. And it was the largest stop of the whole trip, besides obviously Ottawa, which you'd think it would have been Regina or some town in Saskatchewan. No, it was Sault Ste. Marie in Ontario. Hundreds of people showed up. Local construction company paid money to throw up an impromptu barbecue. There was hot dogs, there was hamburgers, and it was all put together within a couple hours because we're never exactly sure where they were going to stop and what hotel they were going to stop at. It was a very fluid situation. But it was definitely Sault Ste. Marie. That was after the Maclean's editor published a tweet that said that this was a movement of white supremacists. So I went around asking people, and they can check out my video at rebelconvoy.com. But I went around asking people if they were a Nazi or if they were a white supremacist, and I was trying desperately to find these white supremacists that the mainstream media was talking about, but there wasn't any there. But it was really fun. There was hot dogs, there was hamburgers, there's trucks everywhere, and there was little kids sliding down these huge snowbanks because Ontario gets an absurd amount of snow, and the kids were chanting, "Trudeau is dumb." It was kind of cute, but I mean, it was fun. It was a really good place to stop.
And that's the thing too. Like, to even ask these people, where are the white supremacists? It really is absurd because they're being called these things by people who've never taken the time to speak to them. Glenn Carrott, he's been on my show before. I run into him when I'm covering the convoys. I mean, that guy drives across the province with his own money, takes time away from his own business. He's an Innisfail, Alberta town councillor. He's a legitimate, upstanding member of the community. And the people who are saying things about him and the movement that he's created, they've never even taken the time to talk to him. They're finding like one of weirdos out there in obscure Facebook groups, and they're trying to say that this represents Glenn, and they're trying to say that these people are organizers. As far as I'm concerned, there's one main organizer, that's Glenn. Hayley Weil also, same thing. She's been instrumental in organizing it, but no, none of their critics are actually talking to them. Because I suppose if their critics talk to them, it sort of debunks their narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know Glenn before. I met Glenn the second day into the trip. I'd never met him before, never really heard about him. And I have gotten to know him throughout this trip. And I cannot say enough about how much he's done for this movement, him and Hayley. I've watched him. He's a grandfather. He's gotten emotional at a couple of these stops, watching the kids get passionate about the movement. And I've watched Glenn Carrott, I don't want to guess his age, but a grandfather, grow a lot throughout this trip. At the first rallies in Alberta and Saskatchewan, there were a couple people showing up, and it was kind of a ragtag group. The convoy would pull in, and they would honk their horns, and then they'd pull out. And I think that the people who were waiting for the convoy were a little bit disappointed. But as each rally progressed, he became acutely aware of what these people wanted from this convoy. They wanted inspiration. They wanted to learn what the convoy was about, and he took it all in stride, and he learned and grew as it went. And these rallies became these logistically complex events that were very fluid. As I said before, he's planning them on the phone as he's coming across the country. Someone else is driving for him, and he's always on the phone, planning these out at various stops. And it turns into these rallies, especially in Arnprior and Sault Ste. Marie. There are these rallies that politicians like Stephen Harper and Justin Trudeau would be jealous of. He gets on top of the trucks. Someone donated a speaker and a mic, and there's music and there's food. And, politicians in this country can't pull off rallies like Glenn Carrott now can. And I asked him why this became so much easier, and he told me that, and I asked him why he thinks he can pull off these rallies, whereas politicians struggle to. And he told me, Cian, it's easier when you're speaking from the heart, and it's easier when what you're saying actually means something to you personally. And I thought that held a lot of weight. I'm really inspired by him and how well he's handled these rallies.
That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Each week, I bring you an informal interview with an interesting newsmaker or citizen activist you might not have heard of, but who is making a big difference in Canadian politics. And we'll talk about issues in a way you'll never see done in the mainstream media. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.